Hello guys. So in this video, we're going to be talking about MSNR with QM. Now, this is the tool that we are using to basically identify whether the QM is going to produce a reaction or whether it's not. Okay. So if we go back and we get some pointers down. So for a MSNR to hold, we must have a QM. Now, what time frame do we look for? So if we're looking at the daily, we look for a 1 hour QM. If we're looking at the H4, we're looking for a 15-minute QM. If we're looking at the 1 hour, we're looking for a 5-minute QM. What is a QM? Just a sign, SI. Oh, that's soon. Sorry, I am a little bit dyslexic, so you'll have to bear with. Just a sign that price has taken liquidity and then changed direction. So what does a QM look like? It's a very, very simple pattern. Okay, so price will be coming up, we'll be making higher highs, higher lows. Then all of a sudden we'll get something like this. Okay. This here is what we call an LQG. Okay. LQG. What does LQG stand for? Just liquidity grab. Okay. And finally, we get this. This is a boss. What we call this the QM. Now, why do we call this a QM? Um, it is not my name, but if you think about it here, if you ever think of that Disney character, the one with a hunchback, and then you've got its head, Quasimodo, that's a little guy there. So that's his back. You know, this is a really good drawing. Don't sell it on eBay. You know, there's his hunchback, there's his head. Um, I'm gonna sign it. Doo -doo -doo. There you go. You can sell that on eBay now. It's authenticated. Jokes aside, though, okay, so once we get this, this is a sign that we are in a bearish storyline. Now, if we were in a bullish example, okay, yet again, we'll just be taking out the low here, liquidity grab there, and then taking out this here. And this is a sign that price has turned bullish. Okay, so when are we actually looking for this? Well, we're looking for it when we tap into an MSNR level. So say, for example, we're on the H4, we would be looking for a 15-minute QM. So now let's have a look at some examples. Okay, so we're just going to go back to this example that we had here before. I'm going to just rewind it like so. So we had this MSNR here. This is a V to flip. And now, because we're on the H4, we need to go down to the 15-minute. Now, how are we actually looking for these QMs? So we're just looking on the line chart. Okay, so you can kind of see how this is a little bit easier to see now. Okay. And then you can see here that we've had one. Okay. So if I just mark this out, LQG right here. And then this here is your QM. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So what does this actually mean? Well, this means we are now in a bearish leg and that we should be expecting price to move away from this level. Now, if we mark out this level down here, this is where we next should be going bearish, bullish. This is the next possible zone. We should now be basically just following bearish price action all the way down into here. Okay, so you can see we get that. Now, in the previous video, we actually did mark out this level here. Okay, we marked this level out here. And why is this not a valid level to go long from? Because you must be thinking, right, well, we've tapped in and look at all this, we're legit, we're just going up. We'll notice we've just not had that liquidity grab and QM. Okay, we've had a liquidity grab, but for us to have the QM, we would have to break this up here. And as you can see, price eventually follows through. Okay, so we've hit this level. Are we bullish yet? Not yet, no. Because we haven't had that QM. And now you can see here, in theory, we should be bullish. Okay, we've had the liquidity grab there, and we've had the QM. Okay, sometimes price doesn't work. It doesn't work all the time, just like everything in Forex. How now that we've had this one here, this is a little bit of a better one. You can see that we should hopefully now go up to the next H4 level, which in my opinion, if we go down to here, is either this one or this one up here. Okay, so now we'll just be on the 15-minute, waiting for that all important QM. Okay, so we get this QM here. But something to note as well, when we get a QM, it is a little bit better to have it in prime time trading hours. Okay, so this is usually in between 7 in the morning, 7 in the morning and 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And this is on UTC1. Okay, and I believe this is actually current day. Is it? Yeah. So from here, we should break down. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we did, you know, in Asia, create something like this, and then come up QM here, and then we'd be playing it down for lower prices. Okay, so let's have a look at some other examples of QM. Okay, let's go to the daily time frame. Okay, so here on the daily, let's see, we have this gap level right here. Okay, we'll mark that out with the daily. And we're going to put this in replay mode. So for the daily, we need to see a H1. Okay. So, yeah, again, we'll go to the line chart. So not a boss, a H1QM. So looking through here, has this tapped yet? Yes, it has. Have we closed above? Yes, we have. Remember, considering the time though, is it the best time? Not really. However, we could still see price move away from here. And there you can go. Do you see? Especially in between spread hours, we're not really looking for these QMs. Okay. Price falls lower. And then you see here that we get that QM. So we have the liquidity grab right there and the QM. right there. Okay. And now on the daily, where is our next level? Gosh. Well, our next level on the daily would be this low here. Okay. See that low. And then we would possibly also be looking at this low here. So from there, we're going to monitor it on the hourly. Okay. And you can see here, price should be following this all the way up here. And there you go. Okay, fair enough. You do get a couple of wicks down, especially after a big push down. We are going to get more of a corrective move. However, here we've now achieved our objective. However, are we bullish? Sorry, are we bearish? No. Why are we not bearish? Because we haven't had that QM. Okay, so now we have a possible candidate for that QM because we've taken out this high. Okay, we've just taken out another high and we are yet to close below. So it's very important that we get that close. And there we go. So we've had that QM right there. So now on the daily, where would we be going? Let's have a look. So on the daily, I would assume, get my little moving tool, that we would achieve either down here or this flip level. Now, I said I'm going to talk about this flip level in this video. So when we have a QM, okay, I'm going to actually draw this out on a diagram. So when we have a QM, okay, we will often have a gap level like so. So this is what the candles will look like. I should make these green just so it's a little bit easier to understand. That's not green. Here we go. Okay. Throwing some wicks on. If you make these wicks realistic, so that's how far that went up there. Okay, so we'll actually have a level like this. Let's say this is H4. Okay, now when price comes back into retest, we can often play off of this level, and this level gives a really, really good reaction. Okay, and so this is what we call the gap flip. Okay, flip. Now we only really use these when there is a QM, because otherwise we'd be drawing lines all over our chart. These are when they're the most powerful. So if we have a look now, does price come down to here? Bang. Yeah. So you see here, if I just remove this, okay, this was our gap to flip. Price taps in and it goes. Obviously, we actually tap into the actual V level here. However, these are really, really good zones to look out for. And now I bet you we are having that QM. If you look here, look what we get. So this is a really, really good way of establishing that bias. Okay, once we've got this, you know from here, all right, as soon as we cross down here, we are bearish, 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 bearish. Even here, we're still bearish, okay? Still bearish, 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 bullish. Okay, we are now bullish. And now we're bullish until price says otherwise. So that is how we use MSNR to establish bias with a QM. Yet again, if you have any questions on this, please do be sure to ask them in the questions place and then move on to the next video where we will be talking about daily schematics. That's a really interesting subject because it allows you to kind of predict what the day is going to do.